Hello everybody, so I just wanted to show you some of the things that we went over today. So the first thing that I want to show you is the morphing. It's the same steps from the video, but let me just show you again in our little video. First thing we're going to do is click new composition. We're working with these settings. You can screenshot that if you need it. 1920 by 1080, 24 frames per second, 10 seconds long. Click OK. Alright, we're going to be morphing a square into a circle. I'm going to set it to white. I don't want any stroke. I'm going to drag this out. If I hold shift, it's not going to lock it, or it's going to lock it so that it's uniform scale. I'm going to align it to the center down here. So let me close the properties. Oops. So I'm going to align it to the center and center vertically. Next, what I'm going to do is move that anchor point. So I'm going to click this pan behind tool. I clicked off of my shape so that I could pull it up again. And it looks like my anchor point is pretty centered. I'm going to hold Control on a PC, Command on a Mac to move it to that center point and lock it. So you can see that it's locking it to that center point. Okay, let's click the pointer. And I'm going to rename this by right-clicking, rename, square. So now we have our first shape. I'm going to close that. The next shape I want to draw out for me is an ellipse. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn the eyeball off on this. I'm going to draw out my circle. So you see what happened? I had my square selected. I don't want that to happen. So I need to make sure that I click off of it so that this isn't light anymore. So let's start that again. Now I should be able to draw my circle out. I'm holding shift again so that it's uniform on all sides. It's not an oval, it's a circle. I'm gonna click on this align to center horizontally and align to center vertically. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna click the pan behind tool. And now I'm gonna hide my square. So you have this anchor point here. I want you to click off of the shape and click back onto it to make sure that that anchor point isn't off somewhere. Hold Control or Command to move it to the center. And let's click the pointer. We can right click and name that circle. All right. And for fun, let's do that one more time. We're going to do it with the polygon. So I don't want this selected. Do not let either of these shapes have that highlight. Make sure that you're off of it so you're on a new layer. We're going to drag out a polygon. I'm going to set it to be a triangle, so where it says points, change that to 3. I want that to be aligned center, so we'll click the align tools. And you can see my anchor point is already way off. So make sure that we reset the anchor point too. We're going to click the pan behind tool. I'm going to click off my shape and back on. And I'm going to make sure that that gets aligned to the center. So now we have a square, a triangle, and a circle. Triangle. So close. There we go. All right, so now I can turn my circle back on. I can turn my square back on. And they should be all about the same size, about the same place. So I'm going to hide my triangle for the moment. I'm going to go to my square, click the drop down, and we're looking for contents, rectangle path. Right click on rectangle path, convert it to Bezier path. So I'm going to do that again. We have square, we went to contents, we dropped that arrow down, not transform, contents. Oh, we're on the wrong one. Contents, rectangle, rectangle path 1. Right click, convert to Bezier path. Now it should say path 1 below that. Click the drop down for that and turn on the stopwatch. We're going to repeat that for the other two shapes. So I'm going to hide my square for now. I'm going to go to content on the circle, click ellipse, ellipse path 1. We're going to right click on the path 1 part and click convert to Bezier path. Now we have path 1. We're going to hit the stopwatch on that too. I'm going to open this up higher so you can see everything we're doing. So we have the circle, we have the square. We need to do that with the triangle. So we have contents, poly star 1, polystar path 1, right click, convert to measure path. Now we have path 1, we're going to click the stopwatch on the path. Now each of these is highlighting the spline around it. So it's not about the shape itself, it's not about the fill, it's about the lines that drew it. Alright, so now what we want to do is morph each path into the next one. So we're going to send everything to the triangle. That's going to be our working shape. So the first thing we're going to do is go to path. For the square, we're going to copy this keyframe that we set. We set the keyframe by clicking on this stopwatch. So I'm going to click Control-C or Command-C if you're on a Mac. And we can go up to the path of the triangle. I'm going to scroll it to 1 second. And I'm going to Control-V to paste. Let's try that again. Up here. Control-V to paste. So you can see that it moved it off to the side for some reason. So let's go back and click up here. And let's go ahead and center that and see if that fixes it for us. Alright, so let's turn our triangle back on. We'll turn off the circle. And if I minimize these, what should happen is our square should turn into a triangle. It looks like it is. So let's repeat that one more time with the circle. We have our circle path. We're going to the triangle. We're going to the path of the triangle. Let's move it to 2 seconds. So we copied this keyframe, Control-C, and then up here, Control-V. So now we have that circle path. So let's hide that. So now what should happen is our square morphs from our triangle to the square to the circle. So let's see what's happening with this triangle. Alrighty. So this triangle, we want to make sure that it is aligned to the center. We want to make sure that the square is aligned to the center. And we want to make sure that that doesn't change things. It looks like it is, so let's go ahead and make sure on the transform position, which you can press P to get to that. Let's go ahead and lock the position and we'll set it to the center. And we'll make sure that we copy that keyframe all the way across. And what we could do is just slide that over to, we'll leave it where it is, because we want to make sure that it's where it should be by this first position. So let's go ahead and align it to the center. Another way we could probably do that, let's test it, is instead of having this position, let's do this pan behind, lock it to our shape, align it to the center, and then we'll try up here. So let's lock that to our path and align it to the center. So close. Let's try that one more time. Okay. Now let's see if that held it. No. Alright, let's try it with the anchor point. So we're going to hit the stopwatch for the anchor point and the position scale. And I'm going to copy that to this next location. And we'll do it with the last one too, just for good measure. Now for all of these, we want to center align it. And let's see, on this first one, we'll align it to the center. We'll move the anchor point so that it's in the center. There we go, now it's working perfectly. So I'm going to scooch my time slider down just so that it's only repeating this part here. And what I'm going to do is copy this, all 3 of these keyframes, move it to part second 3, paste those keyframes, and that should mean that the circle is going to morph back into the triangle so that it's a repetitive loop. When I push play, it'll bounce between a square to a triangle, square, circle, triangle, square, circle, triangle. All right. If we go out to 10 seconds, let's go ahead and copy these three and we'll put it on the 4th second and the 7th second. So let's hit play. Now it should repeat all of these shapes. At this point, we don't need the circle or square path anymore. We can click delete on our keyboard. So our whole animation is all this part. All right, excellent. So I'm gonna go File, Save As, and I'll put it on the desktop. I'll name it Morph Your Name. All right, so this is the After Effects project. This is basically so that we can work with our layers again. So we'll click Save, and then we're gonna export it as well. We'll do File, Export. You can either say Add to Render Queue or to Media Encoder. I'm gonna set it to Media Encoder. It'll take just a second for that to boot up, so I'm gonna pause the recording. Okay, it booted up, so let's go ahead, move that down to the screen. All right, so I have an old document that I've exported. I wanna export this one. Right now, it's set as an MP4. I wanna tell it where to place that. So we're gonna click on the text right here for the output file. And I wanna put that on the desktop as well. And I wanna name it Morph My Name. All right, and we want it to still be an MP4. So we can click Save. We can click the plus sign. It's going to output both of these. We just want this one. All right, here's the morph that we did. Okay, so now I should be able to see that on my desktop. I have it right here. That's my video file, my MP4 file. I also have my After Effects file and a folder for the After Effects file, which is where it saved the other one. All right, so this is what you're going to turn in on Moodle. I'm gonna pull that up really quick. Okay, so if you go to week 2, August 26th, click In-Class Animations, and I'm gonna switch it to student role so that you can see. So you'll click Add Submission, and you're gonna drag, you just need your MP4 file. So that's gonna be Morph. Let's make that smaller. And you'll just drag and drop that file into here. Later, you'll drag and drop another file into here, but I'm just gonna click Save Changes. And that is your first part of the project. This is not for a grade. It's not for grading. There's no points for this. I just wanna see that you've tried it. All right, I'm gonna show you the next part in the next video.